everyone, welcome back to the makeup chair. For today's video, I wanted to do something that's going to work really great for lots of different eye colors. It does actually work pretty well for greens, but it kind of works for everybody. It's just having a little bit of fun with color. A lot of you were asking for something peach, something coral, something with yellow involved. So that is what we've done today. Actually using this amazing color. This is by NYX and look at it. It's so cool. So I'm going to show you guys how you can work this into your makeup look. If you don't have a peach, don't worry. I'll help you guys create this look and let's get started. So you'll have to ignore this eye because I've already kind of tried it out a little bit, but it needs fixing up. I'm going to do it properly on this one. And I also swatched it on the back of my hand just to see what the colors look like. Just a little trick if you're trying out something new. So let's get started with this look. We are going to need to prime to start this look because we have a lot of color going on these lids and I don't want my own coloring to kind of disturb that. I'm really running low on this primer. If anybody has any recommendations, I was thinking of trying the P. Louise one. So once we have applied that, we're gonna start off with our shadows. But first of all, the brushes that I would recommend are these ones by Blank Canvas Cosmetics. Get them, they're the ones that I use in pretty much every Monday makeup lesson that I've ever done. And for the eyeshadows that we're using today, I have created a little palette for us. So obviously there's probably palettes that have these kind of colors in it. I'll put some in the description box if you wanna share some of your ones. So I have my highlighter and my mid-tone. And then to create that kind of corally color, I have a yellow, very vibrant yellow, and this very vibrant kind of pinky purpley. It's called Wild Orchid, and I think that kind of explains what the color is. And of course, we're going to be using a fade shade, and gosh, I use this fade shade all the time. It's Peaches by MAC. We're going to be using one brush to apply, one brush to blend. The smaller one is what we're going to apply with, and the bigger one is what we're going to blend with. So this is going to be our clean brush. I know usually it's white, but I don't have the white one with me. So this is going to be our clean one. It's slightly bigger. Don't apply shadows with this until we need to. Keep it clean. This is what we're going to apply the shadows with. The first shadow that we're going to use on our blending brush is this mid-tone shade. So it's sort of like a warm orangey bronzer kind of shade. So if you have your bronzer, go ahead and use that. Keeping our eyes open, but just looking down. And we're just going to go above the lid with this, okay? So starting on this outer corner, don't worry because we're going to clean up the outer edge anyway, but if you want to bring it out, you can because you can always clean up afterwards. Otherwise, you're going to start on this very outer edge and then blend in. If you are looking to see where your edge is, line it up with the edge of the nose, edge of the eye, and edge of the brow, and that is the point that you blend in from. And I also want you guys to bring this on to the outer edge of the eye too, just as a base. You can bring it down on the lid if you need to, but mostly focus this on the outer edge and then above the lid. So you're gonna get this very unblended effect. Now we're gonna go in with our clean blending brush. We're gonna start on this outer edge, so just where we have nothing and then the shadow, and you're just gonna go around the edge of that to blend it out. And that's why it's really handy to keep a clean blending brush handy so that you get a nice clean finish. Now we're gonna take our fade shade. So our fade shade is just a slightly different tone of what we already applied, just to give us a gradual fade. So that is going to be our peach shade color. And we're going to use that same brush. Just make sure there's no product on it. Just like tap it off. You shouldn't really see any product. Should be on your eye. So this time we're actually applying something, but we're doing exactly the same thing that we just did with our clean blending brush. We're going over that same area. So where the shadow meets the nothing, that's where we're going to go around. And that creates a nice fade for us. And once you've blended that and you have nothing on your brush, take a little bit of your highlighter shade, so it's just a pretty highlighter, and just tap this around the edge of the brow, not too much, and then just blend that around. And if you need to, you can then go back in with your peach shade and just make sure it fades together. So we have our main shadow, our highlight shadow, and then we're fading the two in between with our fade shade. Now, a lot of you guys are asking for something really wearable and natural, so if this is too much for you, bring what you've applied here down onto the lid, tap a little bit of the highlighter just on that inner corner, then apply your liner and you're good to go. That's for a really natural peachy look, but we're gonna add to this. We're gonna switch now to a pencil brush. That's what I've been using earlier. That's why it has these colors on it. And we're gonna mix up our two eyeshadows. So these are our lid colors. If you have a perfect peach for this, go ahead and use it. But I'm gonna mix up these two so I can get like a little bit of a different effect. I'm gonna mix up equal amount of both and just see what that kind of looks like. And you're gonna tap this over the outer edge to begin with. Yeah, that looks good. When you are mixing up eyeshadows, make sure you're watching both sides because it's hard to get exactly the same shade. Once you have the color on there, when you take your clean blending brush And I want you to kind of tap this over everything that you've applied and slowly work upwards into the crease, just so we end up fading really nicely into the framework that we've already done. So hold the brush really far down on the handle and just tap this and blend up. And then as we move towards the inner edge, I want you to use a little bit more yellow so that we get sort of a fade between the two. So we're still mixing up the two, but we're just getting a little bit more yellow as we move towards the inner edge, and this will just create a nice fade for us. I want to use a pigment. If you don't want to use a pigment, you can always use a little bit more of that highlighter over the center, but I'm going to go in with a pigment. So this is the 105, and it's this gorgeous sort of corally pinky tone, has a little bit of green almost in it, which is really cool. Now I'm going to use a little bit of my Dazzle Lock, but you can always use Duraline, which is sort of like a mixing medium. I'm going to use an angle brush. This also comes in that same set. I'm just going to apply a little bit of this glue just on that center point and then bring it into the inner corner. You want to leave this for about 15 seconds while the glue sets. Try not to move your eyes too much because you might end up creasing them. Take your pigment and then just tap this over the top. Now before it sets, what I like to do is I take a little bit more of that peach shade and I just tap that over the top, and that reduces the look of the shine and it gives you more of a sort of just a fading effect rather than like, I've just got glitter on my eyes, you know? And I'm also going to take a little bit of that yellow and just fade where the glitter meets the shade on the outer edge. Then apply a little bit of highlighter just on that inner corner. And then I'm going to go in with my eyeliner, and I can't find my blank canvas one, so I'm using a different one. I don't really like it, but we're going to keep going. I like to do eyeliner when I do peachy shades because otherwise it can be a bit like my eyes are sore sort of a thing. And this just adds in just that little bit of definition right by the lashes. Clean up underneath the eyes, and I'm going to do the wing on this side, and then I'll be right back. So just a quick change, I applied the rest of my makeup. I kept the rest of the face like quite neutral just to make sure the main focus is on the eyes. I'm not going to apply anything underneath the eyes, but I did extend that wing ever so slightly to draw the eyes outwards. I feel like it actually made it more wearable, if that makes sense. It's weird, but it did. And I also applied quite heavy lashes just so the lashes take a little bit more of that color away when you're looking straight on at someone. It's only when you turn to the side that you see all that drama. And that is the finished look. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. On the lips, it's Be My Baby by Rimmel, which is the one that I always wear. You can definitely check out the other videos on the screen now, and I will see you guys in my next one. Be my little baby.